Dr. Mobius, who is essentially a few picnics short of a basket, a few sandwiches short of a picnic, genius, crazed mastermind. His 1930s inspired resurgent Egypt swept across huge swathes. And then the final one that came down with clear appearance was cyberpaper. In the days leading up to the war, France was plagued with attacks from literal demons from the Bible. And a group appeared and fought them off. There's one last region, but less of an invading reality, people think, and more of just a conglomeration of pan-Asian nations helping together with some kind of plague that's kicked. And in Japan, China, North and South Korea, and all the areas taken up on the map by the green, the Pan-Pacific group are helping. And they are bringing people together to fight against the zombie outbreak of the Jiangxi virus, which is taking its sway across the world. So that was the position at day 90 of the war. Since that point, certain areas have changed, certain areas have shifted. Activities have taken place in one way or another that have resulted in things changing. I need to find the one I've got on here. Get it to the same size. So in the last 2 weeks, some bits, according to the reports you've seen, there hasn't been much change to the cyber papacy or Isle. Just the forces of darkness have appeared to just push slightly south towards some additional areas of Denmark. There have been no reported changes in the boundaries of the Roche. There have been significant fighting, expansion, and losses in the Nile Empire. Heroic Storm Knights, which you are, Storm Knights, were able to take action in Mecca. And a result of that action was that they inspired a lot of the locals, and through a concerted effort, one of the stelae, the devices that they've found that anchor the reality to the world, was ripped up, resulting in a regaining of a significant amount of space. Sync client view in Africa. Dr. Mobius's troops still managed to push south into Kenya and west further toward Libya, but some work has been done to halt his advance in the Central African area of Saudi Arabia and East Sudan. The other areas of change were the northern United States. The tribal forces of Barak Kar have been able to push south into Tennessee and areas of Memphis, taking huge swathes of territory that were previously held by the North American military. The western, slightly further east, recent occurrences was situation with Seattle, represented by that purple dot at the top. And the point is that the situation in Seattle, Barak Kar's forces have leveled the city in its entirety with some kind of miraculous earthquake that took place. Before we continue, does anyone have any questions about the state of the war in particular areas of the world? You have indeed. And as far as you're aware, your actions in the cyber papacy, well, haven't particularly prevented expansion, but they've stopped it from going.
Got a wee question for you. See what the hell they call it? English Channel. It's gone a different color now. It's gone black.
What's gone black?
The English Channel. It's gone black. It was purple before in 90, now 101. Nice.
Basically, at the moment, because of limitations on them, of which there are a few different kinds, if it's in the black color, that essentially represents a zone that the mix of two separate realities. So not core Earth and an invading reality, but two invading realities. And in those areas, the rules of both realities hold sway. So the area of the English Channel, essentially the invading area of Isle, has come up against the invading area of cyber papacy, and it's created a mixed cyber papacy Isle region across the English Channel. Certain chunks of it go into northern France, and at the eastern side, a bit of it actually encompasses Canterbury, and it's in.
Okay. What have we done before?
Up until this point, what have you done? Well, you all had various adventures getting to a place where you had been summoned by an individual calling himself Quinn. Now, out Mr. Sebastian, just that he had, in the initial 90 days since the invasion, with little more than spit and gumption, has brought together a multinational task force called the Delphi Council. Turn that off. Alexa started things in the background. The problem with automated systems.
It's a cyber agency. They've linked. You've got you now.
So, you all headed in on this summons, and Quinn Sebastian introduced himself. He's a gentleman, maybe in his late 40s, early 50s, baseball cap, very American. But he seems to know what's going on. He seems to know quite a bit about the invaders, and is being effective in bringing things together. And he had you head towards a region within France, particularly Paris, to assist with the resistance effort there. And you did relatively successfully. You tracked down, dealt with a demon which had been inadvertently summoned by resistance forces dabbling in magic, because part of the cyber papacy reality is that magic is inherently damning, because if you don't do very well with your skill checks, you can end up summoning a demon, literally. So you dealt with that. You'd had some other bits and pieces with engagement with the Paris resistance, and you were tracking down some murders, which ended up pointing you in the direction of a group of distinct groups from varying different realities who were apparently up to no good in Paris. Each of them seemingly finding some way to get into an ancient secure storage locale somewhere beneath the Paris catacombs, which you ended up tracking through yourselves, were able to secure the items that were within that catacomb. One of the specific power was the original sheet music for the I've forgotten it, the French national anthem. I was about to say the Champs-Élysées, but that's not the right one.
The something. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Oh, spell it.
Sale. French national anthem is called
Some teacher will probably know it.
Le Marseille.
watching on Twitch might know it.
Marseille.
Yep.
Marseille. That's
John
right.
recognise that. It's the French national anthem called.
Something Elise. But it turned out that this device had some actual power beyond just being a historical artifact. And you discovered that there are items within the world that might have a spiritual, social, or strong technological tie with the reality or the people they're from. And these items carry power within them, and they're called eternity shards. French national anthem is Le Marseillaise. Can't remember if we were actually able to use it or not, but it has power. That culminated in a fight atop the Notre Dame Cathedral. In this reality, it hadn't burned, unless you were able to stop it being burned in that fight. And you encountered some stealthy ninjas, a group of Victorian thugs. There was an individual claiming to be some kind of supervillain. There was an actual techno demon, and you'd encountered a necromancer, showing that you'd basically had forces from other invading cosms than the cyber papacy at work within that area. Soon after that, you got a call through your contact, Mindy, who's a lieutenant who's working with you from the American military. She'd been contacted to say that you were being called out of Paris to go elsewhere. Specifically, her orders are informing you that you are to be heading west to the eastern coast of the United States. And that is where we will begin at the moment.
Left out the video, but everything else is fine.
What video?
Where they edited us to make us look bad.
Oh, wait, that was a given. Yes, there was a lot of coverage of the fight atop the Notre Dame Cathedral, and yes, the footage that ended up being distributed by the church was not flattering for you in the extreme. So it's a little under 4 months into the invasion, and you have been summoned to the USS Theodore Roosevelt off the coast of New York. And you've been flown to that aircraft carrier. But you're too far out to see the city. As you fly in, you do see a vast flotilla of ships, destroyers, carriers, and more supply ships than you can count. The wind is high, but your plane lands smoothly enough. The pilot waves you out, and you're met by 2 United States sailors. This way, gentlemen, ladies. They escort you into the bowels of the ship, down twisting metal stairways, and into a commissary where hot food awaits. There are a number of other strange individuals here. A woman in a cape and hat that looks straight out of the old pulp serials. A moody-looking Asian woman with a sword and submachine gun. That's Ryoko, just so you know. And even what you'd swear is an elf. Including yourselves, there are probably about 20 individuals here altogether. You can feel the energy in the room. These are heroes. Special individuals who walk into the storm and fight whatever the High Lords throw at them. After about an hour, Mindy returns to the room and motions towards your group and 2 others, calling you each out by name. Theo, Dr. Sanders, Abram, Durak, Mr. Hemlock, and is it Ryoko? Please, if you could come with me. It leads you through a twisting maze of metal hallways and finally into a modern conference room lined with video monitors, moving image plate for those of you from a slightly lower tech axiom than, which I believe would be Abram and Dirac. Explain that in your own heads, how you will. And a large map on the wall clearly showing the state of the invasion, the map as of day 101. Looking. A man who you recognize, mid-50s to early 60s with grey hair and dark sunglasses, is clearly in charge. Several naval officers point to various places on the map, look at your group, and then stick a red pin firmly in the North American region, right in the spot marked Washington, D. Welcome to the USS Theodore Roosevelt, Storm Knights. For those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Quinn Sebastian. That was addressed towards Ryoko and Dr. Hermitage, because they're the only two that haven't met before. One of the senior members of the Delphi. To the rest of you, good to see you made it back in one piece. Most of you have already helped us out before in some portion of the world or other. So you know we're an international task force dedicated to fighting the invaders, the High Lord. That battle will come in time. But for now, we've got a lot of people to rescue. That's where you come in. I want you to fly into Washington, D.C. and help bring survivors in from the surrounding settlement. The monuments around the mall form what you call a hard point for our reality, which means our tech still works. We're holding on to the area, both because I can't stand to see another acre turned over to the lizards, and because there are countless priceless artifacts in the Smithsonian Museum that we want to protect. Barrett Carr and his army have made several assaults against the perimeter, but I've yet to see a dinosaur that can take a direct hit from a tank range. Quinn pauses you for effect and then continues. I need you to ride on one of our supply planes into DC. Get the medicines, ammo, and other necessities on there to Colonel Chavez. He'll tell you what to do next. Any questions?
Sounds like an easy task.
Well, I like confidence, but don't underestimate the situation. You're going into an area that's going to be hazardous in the extreme. And Badger, I think you tried to say something then, but it came out really quiet.
I just said, didn't say anything really.
Well, Colonel Chavez will have the details, but at last count, there was something along the lines of 20 to 25,000 individuals in the areas around Washington, D.C. itself. Obviously, we won't be expecting you to take all of those people, but we need skilled individuals who can deal with the situation, not just to go in and rescue these people, but, well, you might find that there are some situations where some may have gone native. And again, we need to convince those people in some way, shape, or form that it's in their best interest to leave the invaded region.
Does the plane work?
Well, we've found that we can continue to keep things working if we maintain a high enough ceiling above the area. But in order to assure success, we will be flying you in through a gap in the storm front that tends to occur just east of New York City. So you won't be going straight south into Washington. You'll be heading into the zone and then south from within the zone itself, because it's the only reliable place we've got to cross these storms.
Where's Washington?
He gestures at the map. He shows you Washington, and then he pushes his finger up the map towards New York. It's about 250 kilometers distant. And you can see on the map where they have the regions, he gestures with a gnarled finger. The edges all around here, where the realities fight one another, we get powerful storms. I think some of you would have encountered that within the papacy around Paris, because similar things tend to crop up or can occur around hard points as well. So you might experience something similar to that once you get close to DC. But for now, we need to get in and south as quick as.
And what type of enemies do you think we might hostiles might face?
Hostiles, primitive ones, but don't let that fool you. I know, Father, that you're used to doing guerrilla warfare and the like within the boundaries of papacy, but the living land, as they call it, is as lethal a foe as you're likely to meet. The folk within there, when Durex says no native, which two letters are DC, he points to Washington, DC on the map.
The player doesn't know where Washington DC is, so every time you say the map, I'm going, where?
Okay, let me just call out the map again.
I know where New York is, because it says NY.
That didn't occur to me. Right, so NY is the NY. New York, you can just about see it as a WA. Put a pointer on the map and move it properly.
Oh, I've got a P. Oh, that bit I couldn't see it. Right.
Okay, that's Washington.
Okay.
So New York, the bottom of the New York Triangle is where Manhattan Island is, but the plane will be flying about 200 kilometers down. Minimize that. Lose it again. Yeah,
301.
got it. So you were asking about enemies. Well, individuals, but they tend to attack in packs. Their tactics simple, primitive. They tend to move in savagely and overwhelm. But now I know, Father Tenelion, that you're used to dealing with matters of the spirit. The situation within the cyber papacy with their corrupt ideal of Catholicism. Well, you won't have encountered anything as powerful in the cyber papacy as you may encounter within the living land. They have a single overarching belief in their goddess Lanala, and he points towards Seattle on the west coast of America, and it's that which brought down Seattle. There's nothing left in Seattle higher than a single story. The earthquake that their faith brought down was devastating. Mr. Gardner, don't worry, you won't be able to touch the images. It's electrical. Okay.
I've heard of that thing. It's a bit fancy than what I've seen, though.
Yeah, I think you guys are still at the level of. I think maybe you got the like silent movies, moving pictures, that sort of real basic stuff, or what did they call lanterns? You got the
Yeah.
Lights. We have light bulbs, I believe. Somebody came up with that.
stuff like that. Yeah.
So, are you telling me that have you been at the stage where you do the first silent film with a train coming in and then people freak out because they think it's gonna crash into them? And are people really that stupid? Are they? I mean, I know they are, but are they? Anyway.
You'll find people stupid in every place. Stupid is relative.
It is indeed. Don't expect a lot of the high-tech stuff to work reliably within the boundaries of the living land, for one thing. They're not stupid. They're just not necessarily as technologically advanced as, well, I say as we are, but he gestures towards Theo and Ryoko. I happen to know that some people have got access to even greater levels of technology than we have here. Still, we need you to get in as quick as possible. If you do see anything else that's unusual, please investigate. We know that there are occurrences within the living land that are potentially not under Barrett Carr. By the way, does everyone know who Barrett Carr is? And he looks around the group. Right. Part of the briefing. He's a 4-meter tall lizard man. He is the leader of the troops in the living land. We call them.
You said meter? What was that a word?
4 meters. Hang on. 3, 12, 15 feet tall.
Holy crap. Okay. Thank you.
Well, Quinn, I'm supposed to. I'm surprised you even know what that is, but never mind. I'm just here to make sarcastic comments that aren't funny.
It's all right. We'll laugh at you at some point. So who's this broad with the sword? I haven't seen her before.
Right. I'm sorry, I don't know your surname. Ryoko.
Just Ryoko.
Ryoko is an operative that we've managed to get out of the Asian conflict zone. Despite what the news might be saying, we are almost certain that a clandestine invasion is taking place over there. Ryoko has been on the front lines since the early days, shall we say, of the situation. She's proven herself to be useful in a pinch. And after your encounters in Paris, we thought you needed a little more up close and personal to assist Durak in some melees.
He's saying that you can't handle yourself, Dura.
I didn't say anything. What are you on about? What?
That's what you think you can't handle yourself. You need help.
No, not at all.
Is she trustworthy? I mean, she certainly looks like she can handle herself, but can we trust her? You know, these we've bled with.
Yeah,
Well-
watch out. Yellow peril, all that. I don't know. Listen. Asian people are people too, you know.
Didn't
I
say
don't
she
even know what
was.
I'm saying.
Can we
just put an out of character aside? Just
can
to
we
give a bit
swap
more
this
explanation.
character out? Get rid of the doctor? Yeah, I'm sure we've got like a team limit here.
With just an out of character aside, what you'll find is the invasions brought people with them, natives of their own reality. But they're not all bad people. So in any situation, you might find people from the invading reality helping you at once. But at the same level, as well as being people from Core Earth or people from an invading reality, you can also have people who are from Core Earth, but in the invasion or in the engagement with energies of other realities, they have actually transformed to that reality. So they were originally Core Earth, but are now a native of the new reality as their viewpoint on the world changed. Now, I think 2 of you, Theo and Ryoko, are examples of that. You are both natives of Core Earth who have found their viewpoints transformed as a result of engagement with an invading reality. In Theo's case, you have come to accept the heightened technology. It has not changed your faith. You are more definite now than you ever were that the heresy that is the cyber church, techno-Catholicism, the cyber papacy, and Pope Jean Malraux himself is anathema to your faith. You have never felt your faith more strongly. Ryoko, similarly, she was engaged in working a normal day-to-day job, and then suddenly all hell broke loose around her. But in that moment of transcendence, as they call it, not only did she become a Storm Knight, but she actually transformed to the Pan Pacifica reality. And she's only gone on. So not everyone's simple. You'll get a Dinos, for example, the lizard men of the living land who have transformed to Core Earth reality. Reason. Skeleton, just one thing. You'll note on the front of your character sheet, I've not updated it, you should have 3 possibilities, not 2. Everyone starts with 3 unless they have perks or abilities that give them more, or say they start with less. I'm not on push to talk, I'm on detect, but is it cutting off toward the end?
This is what it's like for you lot when I was playing them. As I was GM. You're just getting us back, aren't you?
Maybe the GM's curse.
It could be. I'll drop the input sensitivity down slightly so that it shouldn't drop off towards the end, we hope. Are there any other questions?
When do we go?
Up to you. You've got time to prepare. And he hands you a printed plastic tablet with some coded authorizations on. Trust me, you don't want paper. That stuff disintegrates like it's worth nothing within the zones of the living land.
And this thing won't.
It shouldn't do. Plastic, it's one of the things that tends to stick around, but keep it on your person. You'll find that if you drop stuff, it will decay at a greater rate.
Right. Also, how heavily do you suggest that we go, like, armament wise? I mean, is it risky to bring in lots of weapons, or are they just gonna disintegrate immediately, or what do we do? Like,
Again, if you leave stuff unattended, it's likely to go bad quick. So you won't really be able to carry much more than you can carry. One of the side effects of your own particular abilities as Storm Knights is that, well, things that you keep on you are less impacted by the, well, in this case, what we call the decay of the living loom. But decide what you want to get. We'll try and get it for you.
More magic, more tech.
Stash it somewhere in DC. If you need to, you know. Well, never mind.
I don't think there's any more questions.
Okay, he hands you off to Mindy, who is able to, I mean, you've dealt with her already. She's quite efficient and she basically comes through. If you remember, she's Hispanic, late 20s. She's a member of the armed forces, however, so she's quite adept, but she is your adjutant. She is working through things with you. So she goes, right, is there anything we need? We'll be heading out. Well, I'll be staying here as your contact. Doctor or Father Tenleon, do you need a radio so that we can get in contact with you? Okay, she arranges for you to get a what you see as a relatively sort of powerful localized radio. It's got a couple of kilometer range, so a couple of hundred of kilometers. Get that right? Range on it for you.
Okay, great.
Is he just getting it, or do I get one too? Because
well, we only have the resources for one, so whichever one of you thinks it's best to keep it.
I'll note that on my character.
So, just to explain for those that have forgotten from previously, every reality in TORG is rated with 4 values, axioms as they call them: magic, social, spirit, and tech. The higher the value, the more leeway for activity you have within that area. The lower, likewise, limited. Every single thing you do, every single tool you use is supported by certain axiom levels. So, for example, the radio you've just been given is Tech 23, which is the COSM, the tech rating for Core Earth. It's a cutting edge, high band, high power, personal radio transceiver. However, in the living land, Tech 6 means that bronze swords are cutting edge. So any time you use a tool that exceeds either your personal axiom, because you each have your own axioms based on your own realities, or the axiom of the region you're in, you run the risk of something bad happening called disconnection. And that can occur when you roll the d20. If you roll a 1 and you're using a device that exceeds either yours or the locations, but not both, you will disconnect on a 1. If it's higher than yours and higher than the local location, let's say you gave the radio to Abram to deal with, the Tech 23 would exceed his Tech 18, I think, is for Orosh. So he could potentially disconnect on a 1 to 4. Now, what happens when you disconnect is you lose the ability to do anything at odds with the local reality. So you are immediately restricted to choice of action based on the axioms you have. And you can't spend possibilities, which puts you in a dangerous situation. Because possibilities you can spend to increase your dice rolls, and you can also use them to soak damage in combat. So disconnection is a bad thing.
I remember being disconnected once, and it was not a pleasant experience.
So, does anyone have any requests for gear?
Not that I can think of. Not that this.
So not even my sword is.
Your sword is
usable.
fine for you, but again, it's a bit weird to describe because there's no conscious realization on the part of the character. It's all a bit subconscious background. But your sword could cause you to disconnect in Core Earth because it's Tech 24. And Core Earth's only Tech 23. So your sword is fine most of the time, but every so often, if you're not careful, you can lose because you carry your reality with you. It's what lets you do things that normal people cannot do. It's what makes you a Storm Knight. But essentially, through disconnection, you lose those abilities as a Storm Knight. So Mindy puts together some ration packs for you. Those of you from probably even from sort of like 1930s, if Niall Empire Kerry was here, he'd realise it as well. You get a series of MREs, like foil wrapped ration packs. She gives you enough for like 2 or 3 days for each of you. It doesn't really weigh you down all that much. And if there's nothing else that you're requesting, she leads you back through all the winding corridors.
I'd like
Well,
I'd like to request something, if I may, before we leave.
What?
If we're going into a low tech area, I think I probably need some sort of maybe a sword or something like that.
It'll be a
What we
stick.
tend to have, we've got some stuff because the USS Roosevelt is stationed here at the moment. You're 70 miles off the coast of New York at the moment, and as a result, we realise these things can take place. So we've started to stockpile some bits and pieces for precisely that situation.
A bow and arrow, maybe.
That might be a little too high. You can certainly try, but we have found that a lot of the time that sort of thing, even that doesn't really work in the living land. But if you just give me a second, I'll see what we have.
Okay, anything relevant has got to be better than my shotgun, which I do like my shotgun, but I don't enjoy being disconnected once.
Yeah, I mean, it will work, but just realise you do run the risk of. I mean, I don't understand it myself. I'm what people have started calling an ord around here. But I don't mind. Whatever I can do to help.
Thank
Right,
you.
melee weapons wise. Okay, so Skeleton, you have a choice. So Living Land is Tech 6. You have a choice of a staff, a polearm. A wooden staff is Tech 5. A bone knife is Tech 3. A improvised club is Tech 1. A stone axe is Tech 2. A dagger is Tech 8.
Okay. Because I'm a priest, I'm obviously very wise, and I think a staff would be excellent.
Okay, so a staff Tech 5. It gives you a bonus of +2 to your hand-to-hand damage. And notes are it is two-handed, so it doesn't require two hands to utilize. Yes. Anybody else looking to get any additional gear?
Well, I
On
think I
the-
should have something similar, but maybe not a staff. I don't know, something that's more of a defensive thing, because I'm crap at doing damage in melee anyway.
Is there any missile weapons?
Missile weapons at Tech 6. Let's have a look. Blowgun, Tech 3.
what
Rock bowler, Tech 3.
what skill is throwing dagger?
It's still missile weapons, I believe.
All right.
What's a blowgun or a
Bowler,
bowler? What?
that's where you've got 3 rocks, each one of them tied to their own length of twine, and then the middle bit is tied together, so you can pick it up and throw it, and it's more an entangling weapon.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well. Oh, is it a one-use thing then? That.
Well, if you can recover it from whoever you threw it at, you can use it again. Spears, they're quite common.
Can spears be used both as a hand-to-hand and a thrown then, or is that?
I could say there's no problem with it being used in hand-to-hand.
I might if. No, we'll go.
You know, a short bow is Tech 7, so it's literally cutting edge. Living Land.
So is it a sling will be higher as well because like that's a rock.
Thing is a 7.
Bolo will be. Oh, is it?
Just to let you know, one thing to realise, it's not just that they haven't developed it. In some of the realities, it is literally that it doesn't work because the laws of physics don't support it.
Right.
It's not just. It doesn't just represent. Oh yeah, they've only developed up to this tech level. Literally, the reality is such that it literally won't work for somebody like an Ord to deal with.
Can I try one of those bolo things and possibly a spear?
Yeah, you can get both of those.
If that's allowed.
Bowler is damage +1. It's Tech 3, so it won't be causing any problems in that case. It's damage strength +1. And its range, all the ranges and the moves in the game are in meters. 10, 20, 30. So that's short, medium, long. There are modifiers.
Don't know what you mean. 10, 20, 30, did you say?
Yep, short, medium, long. The spear is a +2 damage, Tech 5. And that has range increments of 10, 20, 40.
What's the damage on the spear?
+2.
What about that rock shoot spear thing? Can you get that, or do you
Right.
have to take...
They don't have any examples of those, but that's because that is a weapon of the enemy. It is a living spear that the Adinos use, and essentially it is empowered by their faith in Lunala.
Ooh.
Don't want that then.
As you're heading out, a gentleman in a lab coat with a shock of spiky black hair, bursts out of a corridor up ahead and sees your group and goes, Dr. Sanders, have you got a minute?
I think I've got exactly 3.
Okay, I'm trying to find the right book because you recognize this individual. Now, within the Delphi Council, there are various groups. The one you are most usually allied to is the one being run by Quinn Sebastian, which is the Hero Division. All of the groups are roughly named after Greek bits and pieces. And I've just got to find the right one. Why can I never find the right book when I need it? This guy, as you know, Dr. Sanders, is running. Hang on, let me find the right thing. It's got to find the word beta in it. He is running the department that for a brief period of about a week, you were involved in the setting up of. You had decided, however, that you didn't want to be behind a desk running the Archimedes division. So you left it to the guy in front of you with a big black spiky hair and a very pretentious little black goatee, Dr. Blackburn, Dr. Zitalius Blackburn, who is the Archimedes division chief. He is in fact 30 years, well, probably 40 years your junior, and is the worst kind of enfant terrible physics genius that you have ever encountered. You taught him during a brief tenure when you were teaching at university. Archimedes is the research division. They research specifically talking about how reality functions. So to say that this guy is working off of stuff that you've written is an understatement. And he comes up to you and says, Dr. Sanders, good to see you again. I've been trying to keep up with your activities in France, but I wasn't able to do so. But thank you for recovering the very useful sheet music that you did. It's come in useful. You're off out soon, I understand?
Yeah, apparently. Well, Washington, D.C.
Okay. Just thought I'd let you know we're getting some very interesting reports in from the field that it would appear that there are, well, shall we say, bits within the living land that even the lizards don't understand. We're calling them wonders. If you do encounter one, it would be very useful if you could take any readings you can and get the information back to us as quickly as you can. Don't hold it out to yourself this time. We need to have it back in here so we can study it in the field. It's unusual because there are regions that break their own rules.
Huh. You've got like a scanner or something?
No, you know yourself. We haven't got anything like that. You were working on putting something like that together.
Oh.
Just note things
Well,
down.
I thought because you're so damn smart, you probably should have figured it out by now.
He smiles politely at you. We haven't been able to get through those algorithms that you sent through yet, but we've got our best people working on it. Anyway, stay safe out there, okay?
Yeah, or die trying.
Well, stay safe. If there are no other bits and pieces people are looking to get, you are shown up.
Well, I was kind of thinking of like getting just something to replace the gadget I've been using to do tricks and whatnot with something that's a bit more low tech. I'm thinking just, but I could probably just maybe make those on the way. Like thinking.
Honestly, if the intent is to get something that won't cause a one-case contradiction, which is what it is if it's one or the other, it's unlikely you're going to be able to, because the tech of the living land is really not that. It's bolstered by the spirit. The complex stuff in the living land is either naturally grown through biology or it's bolstered by the individual user's faith.
Yeah, but like, I mean something like I just have a pouch of powder that I can throw at people.
Probably
And,
come up with that sort of thing.
you know, just some little weird wooden balls that make funny noises when you throw them.
It's a possibility. You can come up with creative stuff during the game. That shouldn't be a problem. Ryoko, if you want a non-electric katana, you can get just a longsword if you want.
Yeah, I will.
But that'll still be cause a one
It would still cause a one-case contradiction because a longsword is still tech level 9.
It's still better than going the higher tech level.
But the disconnect is only
Does it
on
make a
a
difference?
roll of 1.
It's only on a 1 because
I don't think it makes a difference.
your
Okay.
katana is within your own axiom, but it
Okay.
exceeds the world's axiom, so you'll disconnect on a 1. It's a one-case contradiction. You've
Okay.
either got a 1 case, or if it's both, it's a 4 case. So it's a 1 disconnect on a 1, or disconnect on a 1 to 4.
And can you re-roll dice at all? Is that using your possibilities?
You can, but
Except
you
ones.
can't get rid of a disconnection.
If you roll a 1, that's it. There's no way
If you
of.
rolled a mishap, you've rolled a mishap.
The first dice, if it's a 1, you can't re-roll it.
Yeah.
But if you get a 1 in your second one, you can.
Yes.
Oh, I'm requesting some sort of just secure container we could use to stash things in DC, so that we could maybe, because I have some things that I want to take with me into the wild.
Okay.
Might want to
Mindy
go
is
back and
able to source for you half a dozen reasonably sized Tupperware.
Okay.
Our armors and everything like that's going to cause contradiction as well, isn't it?
What happens with those is generally things you're using actively, you disconnect on the dice roll. If it's something that isn't active use, such as armor, if you remember when you get into combat and when we get that the initiative line, you get a reality surge or a surge option. At that point, that represents you just roll the dice, and if you get a disconnect on that, it's because one of your passive items has caused you to disconnect. So yes, anything you've got on you, bearing in mind the social axiom limits how you can plan. So it might even be that you come up with a particular cunning way of doing something, which requires ideas that are at social axiom 8 or above, and that could potentially cause you to disconnect as well.
Right, let's just run the risk and kick some ass.
Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's 1 point away or 100 points away.
Correct. You could be doing Tech 7 or Tech 30. Both of them could potentially cause a one-case contradiction in the living land.
Okay.
It just
but then
doesn't like it.
Then I stick to the katana. I mean.
Cool, no
So-
problem at all.
So
It's whenever you feel that's when it happens. You'll have to have a backup.
so it doesn't matter the level of difference in the tech.
Not with the basic rules, no.
Okay.
There might be some world laws that go, actually, if it's far enough away, it's going to kill, but not at the basic level. So just to give you an idea, a magic axiom of 1. Concepts of luck, omens, and superstition exist, but do not actually occur or have power. At low-level magic, luck kicks in. But at magic 1, the concepts exist, but there's no such thing as luck in the living land. Social 7, the top level, commerce and differentiation of labour develop. Specialised roles like tradesmen, soldiers, and slaves are supported. But higher than that, things such as social units grow to encompass city-states. So the idea of coming from Washington is above the living land social axiom. The idea of being an American or being an Englishman is above the idea of the living land social axiom, let alone democracy and complicated planning. Spirit 24, gods from the dominant faith may arrive in person when called upon and often bestow favours on the faithful. Such gods are powerful, but are neither omniscient nor omnipresent, or omnipotent, sorry. So spirit is a big thing in the living land. And at Tech 6, copper may be smelted, smaller bronze tools and weapons can be produced. Tech 5, the wheel becomes available. Tech 7, bows and oil lamp become practical. So, any other kit? Or a combination of the continuation of the conversation. Abram saying, I'm a soldier, the dwarf's a soldier, the girl is a soldier. Which are you two, traders or slaves?
That's all you got to be.
I don't know. I guess we're some sort of shaman thing.
Traders
thing
or
possible?
slaves.
Except I'm just tricking people, you know.
Shaman's possible.
Medicine man, I don't know. Except I don't really know medicine.
I mean, Father Tenalion is definitely he's a man of faith.
Can I have a torch, as in a stick or something to
Yeah.
light
A
create
naphtha
actual
torch. Yeah, no problem. They can
fire
probably
making? And whatnot.
get you about half a dozen of those if you want.
Yeah. The food rations we got like 3 days worth. Does that include drink, water?
There's a limited amount of water in it.
Do we know if the water's safe to drink out there?
Got no idea until you get there.
I feel it'll be the medicine doctor's turn to shine and show
You
us
should
whether
be-
it's safe.
You've been here for 4 months. You don't know if the water is drinkable.
He's not been in the living land for 4 months.
No.
But assuming that you've got everything you want, and by the way, I'm perfectly happy for you to spend a possibility out of combat to change the narrative to say, oh, well, actually, can we have gotten X, Y, Z? That's not a problem. You're put in the back of a C-130 cargo plane, one of those big jobs where all the cargo. So you're in the back of the plane with lots of webbed boxes of additional rations, medical supplies, just general survival gear, and you're all within the cargo body of the plane. The pilot comes back and helps you strap in and says, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be flying absolutely bare minimum airways today. We hope you enjoy your trip. The exits are, and he points towards the back of the plane. There will be no in-flight video. There will be no in-flight entertainment. And drink them if you got them, because the stewardess doesn't exist on this flight. And he smiles at his own joke.
Sounds lovely.
Once you're all settled in, he goes to the front. You can see there are 2 of them in the front cabin. The plane's engine roars into life, and it wheels into place in preparation for takeoff. You feel your stomachs drop as it suddenly whips forward and hurls you out over the ocean. The heavy plane suddenly jerks back up and careens sideways into the sky. Then it rolls over, turns to what you presume is New York City, and levels out. Your stomach begins to settle. So this would normally be the part where, if it's new characters, you'd get to know one another, but obviously it's responses from Abram as not being able to deal with the in-flight bits and pieces.
I'm just giving everyone some in-flight entertainment.
Yeah. So you're heading due west. There are rough portholes. There's not many because it's more of a cargo plane than a normal travel flight. But you can see out the sea scudding away beneath you, and if you crane your head, some of you can see ahead of you, and you can make out in the distance. After about 20 minutes, the coastline starts to come into view. Slowly, those of you that know New York realize it's Manhattan. Great skyscrapers lie in ruined piles. Others remain standing, dotted with broken windows and covered in massive, far too lush and long to have grown here in just a few months. you can see massive creatures moving slowly through the shadows below. Actual dinosaurs walking through the streets of New York. The plane banks left as the ruined skyline of Manhattan drops out of sight in the starboard window. Dr. Sanders, you catch a glimpse of sunlight reflecting off of a blue crystalline tower among the toppled skyscrapers. You crane your head to see it and you just get a couple of extra points of it, and you're about to tell your companions what you saw when the plane is suddenly rocked as if hit by a meteor. You all gasp in surprise as the beak of a large predator rips open a hole in the side of the transport. The plane drops suddenly. The creature screams and talons rake long lines, rending more tears in the wall. You hear whipping branches lashing against the metal sides of the plane and 1,000 neck-cracking collisions. Then everything goes black. Now, you're going to get cosm cards.
We're all about to crash.
That's a good start.
Theo, this one goes into the cosm card section of your character sheet. Now, what cosm cards are, they are ways for you to affect the narrative. You can play them at any time as is deemed appropriate on the card. We will endeavour for the effects of the card to take place within the scenario, and if they do, you gain the reward, which is normally additional possibilities listed on the card. Ryoko, yours is the Law of Decay. Have a read of each of these so you know what they do. Dr. Dick, yours is Infinite Diversity.
Ooh.
Abram Gardner, yours is Tribalism. And Durak, yours is Perils of the Living Land.
Sounds familiar,
Can
this film.
everybody please just generate a bonus number. So you each roll a d20. On a 10 or a 20, you'll roll again and keep adding to that number. Or you could use the /torg roll. Yep, you'll do that as well. And I want you to add that to your strength skill, your strength stat.
Okay.
1.
Well done, Ryoko.
What? Add that to strength stat?
Yeah, just add the bonus number that generates to your strength stat.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Oh, the bonus number, right?
Yes.
Sorry. Oh,
And we
right.
always add bonus
Oh,
numbers.
the bonus number. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because you said
What?
did not dice to it, and I went right. Okay, 0.
What's the action total?
Oh, I thought we were getting like a bonus. Never mind. That's not
Can
nice.
you
You
share
get minus
the-
10 for you, Ryoko.
Yeah, I'm
Rolling a what?
on -1 strength. Great.
I'm confused already.
You rolled an 8, so that gives you -2 to your strength. So what's your strength attribute? So, yeah. Whereas that 16 would have given you +3 to that 7, but you rolled an 8 first, I'm afraid.
The action total, what's that?
So if you do /torg and then put your strength number in, that action total will add that +3 onto it. So with the action total, it would have put into it as 10. But because you didn't put a number after the /torg, it assumed that it's 0 plus the 3. So it just gave it 3.
Okay, and I've got a couple of set up as TORG BD and TORG BD2.
They're the battle dice. So when you can have a battle dice or a second battle dice, I did.
Bonus dice, not battle dice, but yeah,
Bonus
you're
dice,
right.
sorry. It's for battle though. Wounded.
All right, so on my hotbar, it'd be worth me setting up a few dice rolls when it's /torg.
You can do it in your skills box. I think I've got a few set up there for damage roll +1, damage roll +2, skill +1, skill +2, skill
Which shows
+3.
you how long it's been since we did it, because you've actually already got those set up, Scallon. You were the only one that had them from last time.
I had them.
Well, yours was slightly different. You didn't have any of the /Torg ones. You'd set up your bonus number and double damage and that sort of thing. I think you set up one for like unskilled.
I've got Torg for my skill roll. I've got Torg. Sorry, unskilled roll is Torg unskilled, and for the possibilities, I've got the other ones. Oh, weird. I don't know what the difference is between the Torg skilled and Torg possibility skilled.
Okay, who got the highest value?
I got
Yeah,
12. I did, yeah, 12.
There's
Okay.
one person missing then.
There you got -1.
What, a total of -1?
Yeah.
John.
Okay, well, it does happen.
So I'm
Right.
I'm reduced to strength 1 or 0.
It's just a value at the moment. It just represents who wakes up first more than anything else.
Okay.
So, Abram, as
Yep.
you come to, you've got the most ability to respond to this. You realise you're not only in the shell of a crashed plane, lodged in something hundreds of feet above the ground, because above you or below you, you can see a hole in the plane and you can see a long way to the ground. And I say above you but below you because you're upside down. Luckily, you're all strapped in. But what you also notice is that whatever this great reptilian bird beast is, it is also still stuck in the metal wreckage. The side that it's in, it's been pulled apart so you can see the whole of this gargantuan creature, its talons, its ferocious beak, and you can see that at the moment as it's shaking its head, it is well within striking distance. Each of you are well within striking distance of this creature. So now we're going to go for the first round of combat. You will have to act in order according to the rolls that you made. Badger, can you switch it out to Dino attack?
Yeah. Dino attack.
This looks big. I assume it's taken this plane out, so this is big.
Large. Now, if you just give me a second, I will do a couple of things, because one of the things that we can do in TORG is, unless I decide otherwise, I don't necessarily hide things from you. So, for example, ignoring the fellow on his back, this is the thing that is currently stirring back to awakening. Those are all its defense values, so you know the target numbers you need, so you don't necessarily need to worry about asking me about them. You can see its toughness. The 1 indicates how much of that toughness is from armor. So if you want to, you can work out your damage and just tell me the damage that you get. But if you remember, the initiative in TORG is all controlled by a drama deck. Now, the one you're about to see is slightly different to the drama deck you saw before, because thanks to the Kickstarter, there are now Living Land specific drama deck cards. So,
Cool.
we're at a standard scene. However, the villains go first. So while you awaken early, Abram, you realise that the creature is shaking free of its stupor a little bit quicker than you all are, and it seems to immediately start panicking big time. This thing is proper freaked out that it is stuck, and it begins to strike out at everything within range. It is stymied, which means it loses its first reroll. Double checking that's exactly what happens for the NPCs as well. I'm pretty sure it is.
There's target suffers -2 penalty
That's
to
the
all
one for that
action
one.
till
Stymied.
the end of it. So he's at -2 on everything he does.
And he basically strikes out randomly at, we've only got a d20 and a d6, which is the floor of reducing the dice accessible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 1 to 20 going across. That would be Dr. Dick. It hasn't gotten to the full extent of its panic, but you've seen this sort of thing in large creatures before. Abram, you expect that once this thing gets going, it's going to be striking out twice each turn. So, Dr. Dick. It rolls a 7, which gives me a bonus number of -2 on its unarmed combat. That gives me a 10. Now, at the moment, you are stuck. So you're...
So I can't really do anything.
well, you can do stuff. You can still attempt to dodge. But
It's
currently...
-2 roll.
So another -2, so it gets an 8. So you are upside down and strapped in. So any of your attacks are at -2 due to disorientation, but you are able to shift enough slightly to dodge sort of like maybe like 6 to 12 inches either way, or just to duck down. So as you're just barely coming to, you see the beak of this thing coming towards you. What is your unarmed combat defense?
Unarmed combat is 9.
So 9, it got an 8.
And I got an 8. If I had a -1 on, you mean, but I may not. Maybe you don't roll for that.
Yeah, it didn't hit you. So it missed you. So you basically dodge out of the way. So first round of combat, Abram, you go first.
Can I see outside exactly where we are? Are we on the
You are
floor?
about a couple of 100 feet up in, well, you can't tell if it's a tree or some kind of big building festooned in vines, but you're a couple of 100 feet up. The plane is currently properly wedged.
So it's not like we can just jump out.
You could, but there would be a significant amount of time before you impacted the ground with all of the issues that brings with it.
But you can
Okay.
try it if you wish.
You can indeed
Well,
try it if you wish.
I didn't know if I was going to try and drag one of you out, but if we're 200 feet up a
What
tree, then
to
there's no
use
point.
as a cushion on the way down.
I hadn't thought of that one actually, but yeah. I will stab at it with a spear then. Oh, can I put a card into my pool, or is that?
Once you do an action, so once you do something, you can put a card from your hand into your pool. In combat, you can only use cards from your pool.
I just want to point out to you, Gaza, you got a charisma 8+.
No, of course not.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm not favoured, I'm afraid. So my spear is strength +2.
That will be the damage, but you've got to roll to hit first.
Damage. Okay, so I used. Not going to throw it because I'm presuming it's close enough that I can just stab out with it.
Its head is thrusting backwards and forwards enough that you can strike at it. It's large, so you're getting a +2 to hit it as well.
Melee weapons, is that right?
Yep.
So you add your dexterity and your melee weapons.
So that's your starting point. Then you've
+2?
got your +2 because of the size. You're at -2 because of being upside down and strapped in.
Right. And I roll a d20.
Yeah. Your target numbers are it's unarmed, which is a 12.
Oh, so close.
So close, but not so far. So who
So
got
is
the next?
+2 -2, is that right?
Yeah.
Right.
So +2 for its size, -2 for your hanging upside down and being strapped in.
And
By the way, if you want to get free, you can do a dexterity roll as an action to get free. You could do that. You can do more than one action in a turn, but each action gets a cumulative modifier.
And what do you need to get free?
You just got to make a strength check. If I don't give you a target, it's 10.
So if I roll a dexterity test, I'll go on and I'll try and get myself free as well.
If you get a mishap
So
on this roll, which is if you roll a 1, you'll fall out of the plane.
Give everyone
you'll be
something to
free.
laugh at. What pluses, minuses for this?
So it's a multi-action. So in theory, you should have declared multi-action at the beginning, but I don't
Sorry.
worry about that. But it's a -2 for each extra action. So you missed him anyway. So this will be a dex check at -2.
Oh,
Enough. So you struggle. Obviously, the hanging on it. You can't work out how this clasp works. It's too complex. So after Abram was Durax. Durax
Just
wakes up.
Dr.
Well, you're already
Dr.
awake,
Dr.
but
Dick's asleep and can't see me struggling with
Yeah.
a class.
well, at this point you're all awake. It's just the speed at which you've woken up is determining how you go in this combat. So Durax.
Yep. Okay. I can my taunt then. Shout out to it. Come on, you little insect, and I'll shoot you out. I've got my claw. It's basically there we go.
Now, what Durax is doing here is called a non-combat action, where you can stack penalties on the bad guy.
Ah! Oh god! For a second there, I thought that was a 1.
Fortunately, the Lactin isn't all that you're doing is you're shouting at the thing. It seems to be too panicked to. It's certainly not understanding the language that you're putting out. But you can still go ahead and put a card in your pool.
I was thinking about using a possibility to
Then
succeed.
Dr. Dick.
Okay.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I could try to shoot it, but
Could try to shoot it. No problem with that at all.
I mean, I could also try to just trick it, but because that's my best skill. But I'm not really sure if that's gonna.
Well, you can. Don't forget, you can make it vulnerable.
Yeah.
Or stymied. Or you can make it very vulnerable or very stymied. If you get significantly over your roll on certain actions, so if you get your target number but you beat it by 5 or you beat it by 10, then you're basically getting good and exceptional successes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do the trick thing where I swing back and forth, and I throw a bit of. If I have a powder pouch with like some sort of.
You can get your hand to something that's still hanging off of the cargo webbing around you. That's not a problem.
All right. Well, I'll just get something and throw it at them anyway.
Yep. So you're doing a trick.
Trick. Wait. Oh, I rolled the wrong thing.
Your rollings are great today. I'm loving them.
Well, I rolled wrong, but I guess that doesn't count.
It's still a -4. So you can apply that -4 to whatever your skill is. I mean, your trick skill is probably still enough to.
Yeah, 11.
So that is a good success because its trick defense is only a 5. This thing is not clever. So you can choose to make it. I think you can add 2 conditions on that one. If you'd gotten 10, it would have been player's call, at which point you say what happens.
Yeah.
So do you want to make it vulnerable and stymied, or very vulnerable, or very stymied? Bearing in mind they will stack, it's already stymied.
So I'm going to make it vulnerable and very stymied.
Okay, cool.
And
put a card in your pool.
I can actually do that before. So I can I have 2? Wait, because I have the.
If you have a perk that lets you start with a card in your pool, it's up to you to remember it, but go ahead and add an extra card into your pool.
Right, done.
Theo.
How far is he from me?
From you, you could engage him in melee if you wanted to. So it's a very, very big reptilian bird.
Okay.
So a bit of it is within arm's reach.
All right. What I want to do though is I'll use the reach of my staff. I'm only going to be using it one-handed, and I'm going to poke the pterodactyl in the ribs or somewhere that's going to be suitably annoying. I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to irritate it, which is going to be a taunt.
You're doing a taunt as well. Okay. Oh, by the way, anybody? I realise now why Durac was doing the taunt. He remembers the mechanic from before. At the bottom of the combat card, or the Destiny card, you can see there's two phrases: maneuver, taunt. If you successfully do one of those in your go, you get a card as well as being able to play a card.
Oh, I thought you had to do
Good
one of
luck.
those to be able to put a card in your pool. It's doing something successful.
Yeah, no, for card in your pools, you have to do something. Every round, you build up your pool every round.
And that's
But to draw a card, you just be successful.
okay, but you've got to be successful to get a card in the pool. Is that right?
Yes. Or no, you can put a card in your pool regardless, but to draw a new card, you basically do what they call an approved action, which is on the bottom line there, maneuver or taunt. That gets you a card.
I see.
Into your hand.
Into
so you'll
your
get
hand.
a 5th card into your hand.
I see. Okay. Well, I've started to finish, but yeah, I was going for the taunt on the card. So yeah, I'm just going to try and annoy it, basically, irritate it.
Just because it's got some minuses at the moment, so it's currently vulnerable, which means its defenses are down because it's easier to affect. So its its taunt defense is now 8, not 10, thanks to what Dr. Dick already did. So go ahead and make your roll.
Do you remember what I told you, Scal, about your prediction?
It's only a mishap. You don't disconnect because you are
Oh,
not
please.
using a tool. You're using your quarterstaff. You are using a tool which is both within the realms of the living land and your own capability. So you just don't do very well.
Is it like a fumble, or is it?
It's a mishap. Mishaps will occur if the item you're using has an ability on the mishap. And just because we're going to, the mishap is you go to poke the thing with your quarterstaff. You successfully hit it, but at the same time it twists. You're only using the quarterstaff for one. It rips the quarterstaff out of your hand, and you watch it tumble out of the plane and disappear into whatever forest canopy exists below you. But you can still put a card from your hand into your pool.
I'll roll my eyes at myself. Yes, okay, that's me.
That was a good idea, that, Theo. Trying to work out how high up we are there. Sensible.
Yeah,
You can start counting 1,000.
Are we counting? Yep.
Yeah. that was what I was
Ryoko.
Yes.
Do something, please.
Can I stab it with the sword?
Of course you can. It's within range.
All right, I will do so. So for this, I need to roll the melee weapon, right?
Yeah, so you're generating a bonus number, adding it to your melee weapon skill. You're at a -2 because of your weird upside downiness. So that's counterbalanced by the fact it's a big monster. So your total of 14 versus its unarmed of 12 means you hit. Now, the damage you do in TORG is based on your weapon. Without any bonus dice, it's a set damage. Okay, so I think your electric katana is something like strength +4 or 5.
Armor piecing 2. Damage
That means its toughness is 1 lower.
How do you get a bonus damage? How much more do you have to have?
If you beat your difficulty number by 5, you get 1 bonus dice. If you beat it by 10, you get 2 bonus dice. So within that 1 to 4 or 0 to 4 range, you're just doing your basic damage, which for your samurai the katana was.
It's 13 damage, at least on the character generator, it says.
Okay, so
Can I up his damage so he does an extra bonus damage then?
if you've got a card that can be used to improve that.
I've got supporter, so I can give him +3, which would make him +5 on the unarmed. I think
on his armed as melee, yeah, that would. Well, what is Abram doing just to represent that? Because it's a supporter card. You're narratively doing something.
So with my spear, I'm sort of like deflecting its head. So I'm sort of almost moving its head into the path of trying to get its eye into the path of what's he attacking with? Oh, the sword. So as it's slashing about, I'm almost trying to jar its head in a position so she can get a good slash down on it or on its neck or something.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. So it's your damage bonus. It's a +4 on the katana. So obviously your strength is 9. So that's where you're getting your 13 from. So because Abram's actions have helped you, your bonus goes up by 3, which is enough for you to get at least 5 over. So you get a bonus die. Now, the only other dice in Torg than the D20 is the bonus die, which is essentially a D6. However, unlike the D6 that's in Fantasy Grounds, no, I didn't get a 6. It actually has 2 5s on it. So a 1 to 5 is just that's the roll. If you roll a 6, it counts as a 5, but then you roll again and add. Okay? Just like that. So that exploded, so that's 5. That's 10. So you add 10 to your damage.
And I take a shock and add another 2 with key strike.
Okay, is that add 2 bonus dice, or is it just 2?
No, 2 melee damage.
Okay, well, before you do that, because you can choose to do it, let's just double check if you need to. So you're getting a 20. You're getting a 23 at the moment.
Okay.
So if we look at the damage result table,
Toughness is 12.
Damage result table. Okay,
so I've just shared.
shock.
So
You're going to do 2
its
wounds.
toughness is 12 because you're armor piercing. So you're doing a 23 versus a 12, or you're doing 11 result points of damage. So that's 2 wounds and 4 shock.
So, okay, well,
It has 3 wounds, is that right?
Not always. Let me just tell
Okay.
you.
You said the result was 11. So if
11
I add,
more.
yeah, if I add, okay, if I add 2 melee damage, I
That won't do anything.
It wouldn't
though.
change it. So you can do these things afterwards. It will, just to let you know, it will cease fighting once it takes more wounds than it has. Lacten have 2 wounds.
Oh. Take it out.
1 more wound would take it out. So you take advantage of Abram's distraction, and also hang on, Dr. Dick.
Yeah.
Was it just vulnerable or very vulnerable? It was just
Very-
vulnerable, wasn't it?
I made it. Well,
very
it
stylish.
was one thing it was already, and then I made it all very
Right.
that.
So
and
we
then,
forgot that. Its toughness is down by 2. So you've had 13 result points of damage without the Kai strike.
then I take the cast strike.
Putting it up to 15, 3 wounds, 6 shock. So as Mr. Gardner lines its head up, you draw back, a bit disoriented, but you draw back your hand and thrust forward, punching straight through the thing's left eye. You feel slight resistance, and then twist and crack as you pull your sword out, and the thing's head just flops left, right, and then left again, and its head falls downwards, and the weight of the thing just drags it out of the plane. 1 shot, well done.
Set her up nicely for you.
It's like a Kai strike.
No need to scream.
It's a method in Kendo or Chukempo that you.
It's not like
You
a
realise
squeal.
that you can easily, carefully free yourselves from your entanglement, and just make your way using all of the cargo netting to a part of the plane that has, well, ceiling under your feet, and you can survey your situation.
Chuck on pilot.
You head to the front of the plane, and you can see that the whole front of the cabin is stove in. Branches, or what look like branches, some appear to be sort of like steel girders, which are heavily rusted away, have punched through the front of the cockpit, and both the pilot and the co-pilot are frozen in place with rictus of fear on them. Yeah, cards go back from your hand into your pool. From your pool into your hand, sorry.
We're allowed to have
Dr. Sanders,
maximum of
you
5
take
of them?
that's not until the end of an act, so you're
Okay.
fine at the moment. You can look out of one of the inverted portholes, and you can actually see, just down a ways and around a corner, a glimpse of that same blue structure that you caught a glimpse of from the air.
I think maybe that's one of the. What did he call it?
Wonders.
Wonders. Yeah, I think maybe that's one of the wonders. Maybe we should check it out. I don't know.
How do we get down from here first?
I was going to say that.
Great minds.
I don't know.
Can we get through that front of the plane into that, whatever it is?
Tree.
Steel structure. Wasn't it steel?
Oh, there's
Probably
bits of it. It
tree.
looks like a combination of living and unliving material. You think you might be able to. There's a lot of glass and ragged bits there. There's bits where you could climb down. You can see vines already sort of hanging over the plane from where you've come in. So it's going to be some climbing regardless.
What's climbing?
But it's up to you to choose the route.
So that big pterosaur thing, did it still stuck?
No, it's in its death relaxation. It takes out some of the fuselage with it, but essentially it's you watched it crash down through the canopy, and yeah, you're probably a good 150 feet from the sound that just made.
Well, there goes my plan of making the wings into glider or something. I don't know.
Could have said before we killed it.
So
We would have had to kill it anyway, right? I don't think that thing's gonna let us ride on it.
do we stop living in the past and work out how we get down to the ground?
I guess we climb. Strap your things to you. We're gonna have to make this long climb down.
What we got in the plane that can, are we any ropes or any parachutes or anything that can?
Do we want to risk using a parachute in here?
Oh no! When I'm talking about parachute, I mean the ropes in the parachute.
Vine.
Tie together and make them.
Or there's the building thing. That might have stairs in it if it still has.
Are we crashed into the building thing?
It looks like what you've crashed into from having a look. It looks like it's half building and half tree.
Okay,
it's almost as if bits of the building have turned into tree.
Worth trying that out first.
Let's go into the tree then. Tree building.
Is there perhaps like a window to get into the building and perhaps there's a staircase?
Well, at the moment, you've got the means to get out via the front of the plane, which is currently embedded in the middle of the thing, but you don't really know what's on the other side, but you can always look.
Yes, look.
I will do so.
Okay, it does look like you've got some kind of, you shine some kind of light in there. You can see there's some kind of cavity or space. It doesn't look like the inside of any building that you would recognize. Obviously, whatever's going on here that is transforming the situation is wreaking havoc upon the internals of whatever this was. But you can see from there that there's lots of handholds. There are bits where you might end up going down sort of like the inside of what would be liana encroached bits of tree. It's a combination there that then it transitions to possibly some rusted stairways. You can make your way down. Regardless, it's going to be a bit hazardous, so you'll be making a couple of skill checks, but you think you can make your way down.
There's something special in this building because it's what you call a wonder, so we're looking for that thing as well, isn't it? Artifact.
Well, Dr. Dick seemed to have spotted that from.
Oh, okay.
Whereabouts did you see it, Doctor?
In the air. I don't know. It's.
You can see it. You could gesture towards one of the windows, and you look, and you can see it. It's in real world terms or in New York terms. It's 3 blocks. And you can essentially, if I just share an image.
Oh, it's not this thing we're crashed into. I thought it was this thing we crashed into was one.
No, that would have been.
It's the not looking like a skyscraper thing to the right of the picture.
Oh, not what I expected.
I got deja vu.
Dr. Dick, have you got any kind of scholar skill?
I do.
We've been in the tower before.
Not really, but I have pretty high intelligence.
Anybody with the scholar skill
Yes.
who's likely to be read or who's got a reasonably high int could make a roll. Only difficulty number 10.
Yes. Do my.
What is in?
Mind, sorry.
Okay, that's only
Not
8.
with the -8. So Dr. Dick didn't read the next one, neither did Dirk. Abram, however, did a bit of reading before he got here. Anyone else can try.
I like to read up on things. I make notes.
Do you?
I've got a whole big
Obviously,
notebook.
Ryoko didn't pick up on it, so Ryoko's obviously spent too much time in Pan Pacific. Dr. Dick, not Dr. Dick, Abram, you seem to remember while you were on the aircraft carrier the first time before you left for Paris, that you were reading some of the reports that had come through, and there was a report that literally on day 1 of the invasion, a group of New Yorkers, in the process of trying to get themselves and some of their fellow refugees out of New York to avoid the initial invasion by the Adinos, encountered something that sounds very similar to this. They said they were able to go into a tower that seemed to look out of place. There was some unusual details about what was in there. They heard an alien voice, but they couldn't recall any details. But it certainly would seem to fit this description. So that's what you remembered, Abram.
Right. Yep, I remember going in it. I mentioned it. That's one of those towers. They're from day 1. Those.
It's unusual that it seemed to be at odds with the remainder of its environment.
So you think we want to head there then, Doctor?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think this is like a, usually a place for that kind of architecture. So I'm guessing it's
One thing you also notice while you're looking out of the plane is visibility beyond maybe about 2 or 3 kilometers is misty. It's a bit foggy. And you look down and you can see there is a sort of a mist gathering along the ground as well. And then you suddenly realize you haven't got a clue of any orientation here either. So everybody give me 2 dexterity checks. If you've got a skill that would apply to being able to climb more effectively or gear that might help, then
Maneuver?
ask for
maneuver.
maneuver's more a combat-y thing. It's more about quickly moving around an opponent.
Dodge.
Dodge.
Survival might be usable, but it wouldn't be survival off of its existing. It would be survival on deck.
So just use your survival bonus onto your
Survival
dex.
adds on decks instead if you want to do that.
Let's try that. God almighty, what is wrong with my dice?
Right.
Well, that's
So
9.
I'm going to have to use a possibility on my one.
So we're looking at a 3 for Theo, an 11 for Ryoko, currently an action total of -8 for Durak, but yeah, I don't think you've added your skill onto that, have you?
No. 12, 0.
Remember, if you're spending a possibility like you just did, it's at least a value of 10 on the dice.
Yeah. 0. 9.
Right. So, Skellen, are you doing anything to mitigate your failure? Spend the possibility. You get to roll the dice again and add it to your original dice roll, and then work your bonus number out from that.
I remember. Fantastic. Okay, let's do that.
So reduce your possibility total by 1. There you go. Done. Somebody remembers to do that from the Savage Worlds type of game. Now, the fact you rolled a 5, it's at least 10. Okay, a possibility usually counts as a minimum of a roll of 10. So that's 10 plus 5 is a 15, giving you a bonus number of 2. 2 onto your dex, plus or minus survival if you've got it, gives you what total?
9.
Okay. Don't forget, outside of combat, you can spend cards from your pool as well.
So even with the possibility, I'm screwed.
I can use my cards then. Okay, wait a minute.
The situation, you've both got a 9 at the moment.
Yeah. I didn't know I could use my cards. Wait a minute. I've got a. Oh God, why can't I? I'm using my action 78 card. For some reason, it doesn't let me drag it to the chat window. So that's +3 to my total of my test. So I've now got 12.
Okay. Theo, are you doing anything if you've got a card that can help, or has anyone got a supporter card that might help?
Used it.
Is the limit of one possibility?
You can spend a possibility once from any available source. So possibility, a card can be spent as a possibility, can count as a source. If you've got, I think it's a drama card, can be spent as a possibility.
But it says on, doesn't it, when you can spend them as possibility?
Second chance might let you roll again. Well, you don't have to. Needless to say, as you each begin to make your way out of the plane carelessly, in whatever order you go through, the point when Theo is transitioning from plane to building, his
at the back.
foot slips and he tumbles down about 30 feet before basically hitting his back with a sharp thud, which knocks all the air out of you. But you are sort of like, and you look over and you can see, look, you basically take a shock that won't come back until you've had a decent chance to rest.
Okay, now
normally shock recovers after about a minute, unless you're in perilous circumstance.
All right, so my character sheet is showing 2 shock, 2 wounds. I don't know whether that's carried.
No, that's from before. Get rid of those.
So
you can take a number of shock equal to your spirit, and you can take 4 wounds before you die. So 3 wounds, you're fine. 4th wound, you're defeated.
So they start at 0, and I'm going up. So I've got 1 shock.
Goes up, yeah. You got 1 shock, but it won't go. It won't recover until you've had a chance to properly rest.
All right.
Okay, so you manage to recover, Father Tenalion, as the rest of you make your way down a lot more carefully. You make your way down maybe 75, 80 feet, getting about halfway down, when the remainder of the building seems to give way to much more tree-like situation. So I'd like another roll from you as you're now making your way hand over hand with like lianas and vines that are festooning the outside of this tree. But it is a different situation. If you roll a 10, roll again and add. If you roll a 20, roll again and add.
Different skill then, is it?
No, it's dex with survival added if you've got it.
Oh, okay.
Messed up one. Why have we got?
Okay, so far we have Ryoko managing, everyone else not. Although I need to know from Durak what your total is, because you just rolled the dice. So
I'm only rolling the dice. 3.
I'm only out of 7. What's the target number?
10.
12.
Target number's 10.
Durak got 12.
No, I got 12.
If you do /TORG space and then the number that you're adding to it, it'll work it out for you.
Yeah, I'm just clicking that little skill button, and that's all.
Okay, so
you said
Ryoko, Durak, so far, have succeeded.
So that gets
Abraham
21.
just pulled his arse out of the fire by the expenditure of a possibility.
20.
Yeah, I'm going to do that as well, but how do I double click?
Yep, so you're using Theo's also using a possibility. So I think with the 17 added to Theo's previous die of 9, that gives him a 26, which is a bonus number of 9, which should be more than enough to sort it. And Dr. Dick got a 27, which is a bonus number of 9, which also should be more than enough to sort it. So after what's felt like an hour or two, you manage to find yourself at ground level. I'd say street level, but the environment you're looking at couldn't bear less resemblance to a street if it tried. About 80 feet away from you in one direction, you can see that the vegetation is actually quite scorched, and you note that the ground is actually moving slowly, and it looks like off in that direction some kind of lava flow. You can see, heading away from the lava flow, you can see ahead of you, 2 or 3 blocks down, this strange blue tower. Scattered around you are some of the supplies that fell out of the plane. A majority of it seems to be okay, so you can decide if you want to take any of the medical supplies or additional rations. You could take additional MREs if you want them. There'd be, if you want to, somebody can make a find roll for me to see how many MREs you can find. And Theo, you need to make a find roll as well.
It's an MRE.
It's a survival meal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Dr. Dick isn't able to find much. Theo, with a couple of minutes of looking, you find your quarterstaff.
Oh, thank God for that.
It seems to be okay.
Thank the Lord.
Dr. Dick, what were you looking for?
Anything that could be useful, really.
Anything that could be useful, or primitive tools that could be useful? Your answer isn't important.
Primitive tools that could be useful.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
You don't find any, but luckily you were thinking in local terms, so your desire to, I need to find myself a compass, wasn't the thing that broke your tenuous link with reality at the moment. Ryoko, you managed to find about 5 days worth of survival meals for the group.
Good.
So you've each now got 8 days of survival meals. Actually, Dr. Dick, the one thing you do find on your critical failure of a 1 is you're looking and you realise you check your own gear, you can't find your radio.
Well, I didn't have a radio.
Good. So you go and look to Father Theo, who had the radio, and you notice that there's a little sort of tendril of smoke rising out from whatever passes as Dr. Theo, as Father Tianalon's. You go over and open it, and you realise that when you fell out of the plane in the first instance, the radio is toast.
Oh crap! Looks like the radio is toast.
That's unlucky.
I guess in your case it would be. No, I'm not going to say it. It's too stupid.
Humour can grant a possibility if I find it funny enough.
Okay.
Asking good ideas, good descriptions, any of those things.
I guess in your case it would be French toast.
It's definitely
Yeah,
not.
all right. I did just say I'd award it for humour, so yeah, you can have a possibility.
Too stupid.
There was humor? When did it happen?
French
What?
toast.
At this level, you can see the tower a few blocks away. It's quite clear, or as clear as it can be, because the place is literally, it's like about a 20-foot high jungle canopy is actually down at street level here. So you can't really see much above the skyline where you are now, but you slowly begin to make your way towards the tower. You're about 150 feet away when you decide to slow down because get off the road. It's almost a Lord of the Rings quote. We should get out the streets. When ahead you can hear tribal drumming. Boom, 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 boom. And there's a natural break in the jungle. And at the edge of the jungle, you're looking out and you can see probably a couple of hundred lizard men, a dinos, crowding the street around the crystal tower. You can see various priest types banging these drums and driving them in chants. And there are the ones at the base of the tower appear to be banging and hacking away at the tower with primitive tools.
Well, this is bad. I think. I don't know. Doesn't seem very effective.
Well, our mission is to.
Are they attacking the tower, like trying to break it, or are they just
It
chanting?
would appear. I mean, they're either trying to mine the bottom of the tower, but they are attacking the base of the tower.
Do we see another way into the tower apart from the base?
Give us find check, please, anyone that's looking.
Right, I just did that thing in a couple seconds. I wonder if it'll let me go.
Do we really need to go in the tower?
In the tower, you say?
Yeah.
Can I
Not
do it
in the tower.
Damn it.
Okay, so Theo's got a 13, Ryoko gets a 10, Dr. Dick gets a 14 as well. So all of the people from reasonably advanced cultures look around, and you start looking up as well. So two things occur to you. The first is that as you look up, you can see the mist, which is a bit prevalent, giving you about a 50-foot visibility fog most of the time, appears to thin towards the tower. And as you look up, you can see the mist also obscures your view of most of the skyscrapers around, which is making it, as I said earlier, very difficult to work out your position. Now, Theo, you were just alluding to, do you need to go into the tower? Your mission is to get to Washington. You are currently in New York, so it's a distance away. But at this moment in time, you're not entirely certain which direction will get you out of New York, because you've got very limited visibility and you've got no point of reference. I mean, there's no native New Yorkers amongst you anyway. And by looking up, you see that there is a possibility, Dr. Dick and Theo, you both see this at the same time. Around the edge of where this tower has gone up, you can see other skyscrapers which are still in better states of repair than the one you crashed into. One of them appears to be partially constructed, and at the top of the partial construction, in amongst all the high steel, you can see the telltale jutting of a crane, which appears to still be attached to the construction. The arm of the crane appears to be half broken and bent down, but with some simple. I mean, Theo, you haven't got any cyber, have you?
No.
But you've got a cyber Bible, haven't you? Which is essentially a personal computer with all the PDFs of the Lord's Prayer and everything else put up on it. So, Dr. Dick, you do some maths in your head, and Theo, you do some quick Pythagorean nonsense on the tab. You think that the crane is possibly long enough. If you can push it in the right direction, it might give you an ability to bridge across to the tower at about the equivalent of 30 stories.
And how many of the lizard people are there?
There's
400.
at least 100 or so.
Okay.
And as you were looking up, you can see every so often the telltale signs of similar to the beast that crashed in Lacton, that crashed into your plane. You can see those, but they appear to be flying in a more logical, designed pattern. Possibly they have riders atop them.
Yeah, I really don't like these pterosaurs. The complete absence of filamentous and integument is very inaccurate. Also, they might kill us. I don't know,
So,
but it's a better chance than staying here, I guess.
so why do we want to go in the tower again? Sorry, I'm confused.
Find out where how to get.
We want to work out how to get to Washington.
It'll give
Listen-
you a point of reference for direction.
Yeah, and like I don't know, there's a 1 in a million chance that there's a teleporter there. I don't know.
Teleporter?
As he says that, Abram, you do remember that the report that you read about this did seem to indicate that it was a more advanced technological representation. You didn't understand half of what they were talking about.
What
but-
he's saying doesn't mean anything to me, but yeah.
I don't know, Jules Verne,
me, whatever is it.
teleportation, it's science fiction for you, it's stories, but
Could be.
Let's go and push this crane over then.
Do you know which building we have to climb up?
you can work that one out.
Let's get there.
Okay,
And try
so this
to
is going to be
avoid
done. Within TORG, there are things called dramatic skill resolution. So if you look at the Something About You card, to the right-hand side, you have letters A, B, and D. A dramatic skill resolution essentially means that you've got a certain number of time segments to complete a task. You can complete step A, step B, step C, and step D in sequence, or you can try them all in one go. So your attempts to get over there will be represented by turns of the cards, and then you will make attempts to complete step A, which would be finding a path across the rooftops to the building in question. Step B, create the bridge. Step C, knock the crane into position. And then step D, knock the crane down to hold off the sewers. So that's the mechanism. So as you're progressing, we start with soothing the savage beast.
Always using this card. Something about you then?
Oh, it's a new one. Soothe the savage beast.
Oh right, okay, didn't hear that one.
Now, bearing in mind this isn't really combat rounds, but you can use your cards at the moment wherever. Notice it says complication. So there are critical problems that can occur, which might set you back. You've got 5 turns of the card to complete this. A complication represents possibly rising wind, interference from the Adinos, which essentially means you can attempt any of the steps this round, but if you fail the step, you go back to the beginning. Okay?
But we're already at the beginning, so
Exactly. So not going to be a huge problem for you at this point.
So we can try all 4 in one go.
But if you do that, there's what's called a last-ditch effort. Because if time's about to run out, a desperate adventurer can declare a last-ditch effort. It's risky. You've got to do all the remaining steps as a multi-action task with all the requisite penalties. So that would be 4 tasks. So that's a -6 to each of the stages, but you would get it done in one go.
Maybe not. Should we just try the 1 for now, then?
You're at step A, which is find a path across the rooftops. Essentially, you're looking for a safe route into the buildings and up and around to the closest point you can get to the half-constructed skyscraper. This is a hard, difficulty number 14, find test. Now, any number of you can attempt this, or one person can attempt it and get assistance from the others.
Let's do one. Everyone assist them. Who's got the
How
best
do we
find?
assist them? What does that do?
That will probably be me.
Okay, I'll help her. I'll help him. Sorry, my game's mixed up there.
So doing an assist, so multiple people helping, essentially, as long as you've got an appropriate skill to help, you can just essentially declare that you're helping.
Mm-hmm. I'm helping.
Yeah.
And then you get a number bonus dependent on, you each make a roll, and you can add a bonus to the assistant. So, for example, how many of you? There are 5 of you. So at basic, there would be a bonus of 3. But if you make a decent roll, one of the assistants makes a decent roll, they can count as more than one person. So you're picking a primary.
Can we add a
which is
hindrance?
Dr.
So, yeah, doctor's the primary.
You could add a
if we
hindrance if you
aid-
wanted to.
No, but if we aid and we roll badly, does that impact negatively on his find? Or
You're
Do we
always
all-
going to add a bonus of at least one participant.
so we might as well roll an aid.
Is there any negatives to this for us?
Nope, not at the moment.
Okay.
Can I assist?
God.
So
Key for
what
stuff
is
is
that?
particularly local. So you're making a find check. So
Find
we wait until you've all made the check before Dr. Dick makes the final check.
Oh, for God's sake. Yeah, we're not helping much.
Can I assist perhaps by reading a parable about mindfulness to him and maybe the faithful? That would be able to assist that way.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Whether Dr. Dick listens to it or not is all based on him.
Yeah, it turns out it's
You wouldn't.
It's okay. So you're counting as 4 people assisting because none of your rolls were. I don't know. Is we okay? Yeah. None of your rolls were particularly good. So 4 people assisting gives a +3 bonus. So Dr. Dick, you can make a find check initially with a +3 bonus on your total, and then roll on the bonus chart. So what's your find skill normally?
15.
So you're going off of an 18. So your companion's assistant.
So that puts me at
19. So you pick your way around, finding a safe route with keeping all of the tribal noises off to your right-hand side. There's a couple of tense moments where you heard something moving in the underbrush, but you weren't entirely sure what it was. But you've made your way up one of the more robust buildings that are holding out to the left-hand side of this, and you've gotten to about the 30th floor. But this is as far as you can get, and you notice that there's about between the building you're in and the one you need to get to, there's about a 10-15 foot gap, too distant to safely jump. So you need to put together a temporary bridge of some kind. Now this, as long as this is step B, so we go from Soothe the Savage Beast to the next card, which is The Signs Are Bad.
By the way, because we did we didn't pass. He passed. He would get a card, wouldn't he?
Not really. We're not worrying about combat cards at the moment.
Oh,
you can use any cards. Now, the issue you've got here is unless you decide to do something funky or someone's got a card, you can't actually attempt step B. So you could make a last-ditch effort and do B, C, and D if you wanted to. Or you could force me if you've got particular cards that let me draw again from the drama deck. Or there are cards that might force me to keep previous card. I think
I've got 2 master plans, which means that's not it. Sorry, I've got Seize Initiative. Is that the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, that forces me to keep the current drama card.
Or
so
flip a new one.
Me to stick with Soothe the Savage Beast, or draw a different one to the Signs Are Bad.
I have idea. Gain a clue or insight indicating the next course of action.
That would help once you actually get to the point. Yep, so you can use that as the next bit.
So this one means I have to do it at the beginning of the round. So I would have to.
Around at the moment.
Yeah, but no, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I would either be keeping this card or getting a new card. I can't go
No,
backwards.
You would say keep Soothe the Savage Beast rather than having the Signs of Bad, or
So-
make me draw another one instead of the Signs of Bad.
It says play at the beginning of the round to keep the current drama card.
Yeah. So
Or-
before I draw the Signs
Oh.
of Bad, you're either going to keep Soothe the Savage Beast or force me to draw a different one than the Signs of Bad.
Okay,
Okay,
it's
to
not
make
the
an
way I thought it.
What,
He's
what, what
given us
can
a chance
improve
to do
that?
it because we.
Yeah, I'm doing it. So
Notice,
I
or
was just-
flip a new one after the card for this round is revealed.
do we want
We
to flip a
want-
new card or we want to go backwards?
The problem with the last one is it's complication. If we fail, we go back to A. So because the complication one, yes, it gives us the B, but actually it impacts negatively
Yeah,
if we fail.
let's get a new
fail.
card then.
Should we risk it?
Before you make a decision, for full clarity, the next step is a hard, again, difficulty number 14, science or mind test.
Oh, I guess that's also me.
Urgh.
So before you
Option.
decide to move on, evaluate how easy you're going to do this.
What is yours, Doctor? Then what are we going to be adding to? What do we start from? What's your mind plus science? So 15. Okay, hard. So we need 14, and we'll be adding presumably a minimum of 3. So
Well, I'm
we'll
going
go
to say
eight.
that if Alexander uses his idea card, you can get a +3 to that.
Yeah, I use that one.
But do we have to roll that before or use that idea
Added after the
before?
event. Can be
So
added
if we
after
know
the
we've
event.
already passed, we don't need to play that one, do we?
Yep.
Yeah, but we need a B card. That's what we're saying here.
So if
Qualification could count as a B, though.
How do I
Dr.
play the
should
card?
be starting with 18, so as long as he doesn't roll on his dice a 4
5
or less,
4 or less.
4 or less, then we're okay. So we've got a 1 in 5 chance or 4 in 5 chance of succeeding just on the off. Should we risk it for a biscuit? And then we can always add the idea in which we'll add +3 to it anyway, which means the only way we'll have failed if he rolls a 1 on his dice.
Why do people say that?
I know, sorry. In which case, is it worth doing
Again,
the
you can do the whole
No,
assist
it's
thing as well, so that's on top of what you're doing.
Okay, let's just get it over. Pick
So
something.
you're using Seize Initiative.
Yeah. Uses, and we'll do Soothe the Savage Beast and we'll risk it because we know it's got to be.
Okay. Well, it's got everything, so yeah.
Everybody can make mind rolls, or again, you can use appropriate replacement skills. Faith, again, is a perfectly usable one to make an assistance roll. Again, same difficulty numbers of 14s.
What are we doing? What kind of
So you're
roll?
rolling to assist.
No. What am I rolling for? Like, is it knowledge?
Okay,
Or
so
is it
step B, you're
science? Is it
assisting science or mind.
okay? I'll just do mine. So I was asking what.
So Father Tenallion's sermon at this point, probably something to do with the walls of Jericho and not building them in a certain way. So you have gotten a excellent success because you're 10
No,
above difficulty. So you're counting as 3 people.
I got a 0. Woohoo.
You're just counting as the 1.
And 1.
Abram is just counting as 1.
Just about. Ryoko, what are you counting as?
In addition to your idea, just make a mind roll.
Mind or scholar science, if you've got it? Ooh.
So 6 people.
What does that mean? So add 6 to his roll.
Yep.
Well,
So
it's
you are
actually it's a 4, not a 3.
total.
You're getting there.
John, only a quick question. So if I roll mind, it's /torque 8 because I have mind.
Plus 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
To put
that
the
was
plus
correct.
sign in.
12 gives you the bonus of
Yeah.
a 0. So 8
Yeah.
plus 0, nothing. Okay, so Dr. Dick, you are starting with your skill with a bonus of 4 against it.
Yes, come on.
So you're off a 19 to begin with.
That's it.
Okay, Alexander, you don't need to use your idea.
All right.
So from a group effort, you fashion a bridge between the 2 buildings with vines or something else within the area.
John, can I use the attuned card?
The what, sorry?
Attuned.
You are using a Cosm card.
It gives me another Cosm card.
You can indeed. Oh, right, yeah. So you're using your attuned card from your hand. Play to draw a Cosm card. So you get a different Cosm card. You gain, if I can find the right table.
Does it change his Cosm card? Or does
No,
it
he
give...
gets one. He gets an extra one.
Okay, because the first one is pretty bad.
Well, they're supposed to make it harder.
Yeah, they're meant to give you back possibilities, but give you something bad to
You
succeed.
gain answered prayers.
Yeah,
Oh.
let's see if. Hmm.
You'd have to go a little bit native, but
Yeah, it's not bad though.
Yeah, not too shabby. All right, round 3. You say we've got 5 turns to
you have
succeed.
5 turns to succeed.
You go, puny. That's for you then.
I like puny tricks.
It's got C on it. Yay!
That's the important thing. But just look at what, if it was in combat, just look at what the text would affect in combat.
Intimidate.
Ooh, that's bad.
So intimidate can be used to defend against trick, taunt, maneuver, whatever.
If you've got good intimidate.
Yeah.
So what are we rolling here now for this C?
You're on top now of the half-built skyscraper. So you've each made your way cautiously across the decaying I-beams towards where the crane is attached. Giving it a once-over, you can see that there is a certain amount of corrosion has occurred at the base of the crane. If you can get a heroic strength test, you can send the crane crashing across the space into the tower, opening an entrance that you get through.
Correct. 16, is it?
18.
Oh, God.
Heroic.
Oh dear.
But again,
Okay.
you've got all the options to cooperate that you've had at each of the other.
I'm probably the strongest of a lot of
Who
us,
is the
though.
strongest among them?
Is it just pure strength, or can he?
Well,
add
again,
a-
you could use something. So, for example, if you wanted to, Dr. Dick could go, well, actually, I want to use science. I'm going to grab something and get in a lever, so I'm getting more strength leverage into the group.
But that would still come off strength, wouldn't it?
Well, no, he'd be able to use the science to give Durak a bonus, but
Right.
Durak would be going off of strength for the main thing.
Durak comes off base strength. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. Go on, what's your base strength then, Durak? What are we looking for?
I got 11.
Oh, nice.
So at the moment, with 4 of you assisting, that would be a bonus of 3. So he's got an off of a 14. If any of you can get good or extraordinary successes, you will increase the number of people who apply.
Yeah, come on, people, roll. The
Now,
roll.
due to Durak's particular predilections, although Theo doesn't know this, preaching to him to do better won't work. Okay. Just to let you know, up at this height, you can see that the circling pterodactyls, the lacton, you're not doing very well, all here, they do have riders on their backs. They haven't seen you at the moment, but you expect that once this thing crashes over, you're going to be in a situation where they will be alerted to your presence.
So what's keeping Abraham, Ham, and Roku?
Can I'm trying to work out what I could use that would actually be useful.
So at the moment,
to you.
you've got 2 bonus people. No extra
I
bonus.
use.
I'm not going to succeed unless someone gets me. My dice rolls are terrible today.
I do have a second chance.
No way
to
I can use.
play for you if
I-
you fail.
You could play the second chance on yourself, or you could allow a second chance for Durak if you do fail, because you can.
Can't you
do it for
swap
people.
cards?
Yeah, I'm doing that.
What was that, guys?
Can't you swap cards between people?
Yeah,
Is
outside
there-
of combat, you can.
So
Yeah,
we
okay.
technically give him some of our cards that will help him. Is there any way I can use fire
Swap. You
combat?
can't just give him a card. You've got to take a card in return.
I'll swap a card if he has one he wants.
I've got Master Plan 18 if you want it.
Yeah, can we change? How do we swap them though?
I think you just
I
drag
might
and
have to
drop
do
it.
it because I can open both character sheets.
I'll let you do the swapping then.
Have you got any other cards you can
Oh,
swap? I've got
um,
two that will give you plus
I can only
3,
use
so
it-
you have a total
I can
plus 6.
I don't know how much of a bonus I'm going to get, but I could spend the possibility to get.
I've only got 2 cards, and they're both in a master plan.
Assist.
You spend a possibility yourself. You're at most, if you get an extraordinary, if you get 10 over the difficulty number, so a 20, you're going to add 2 extra people. But it's a diminishing returns the more and more you get.
I'm not sure that sounds so good.
So are you swapping a master plan with Abram?
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got 12. And have you got any other cards,
He's got
Abram?
master plan
Sorry,
or
not,
master
not with me. Oh, sorry. You got 2 So you're swapping a master plan with Dr. Dick, is that right?
I haven't. You're the person who was the only one who said about swapping with me. So
No, Dr. Dick has the. What's
Yeah,
your card, Dr.
Second
Dick?
chance. I got a second chance.
What does that do?
There's your roll again.
Yep.
And does it add to the first roll, or does
Immediately
it?
reattempt an action. The new test takes place of the failed one. This may be played after a mishap, negating any effects before they occur.
So ignore. Is it better that I swap because I've got 2 cards that can add plus 3 to his total skill total. So that could be a plus 6 to his skill total. Is that
Yeah,
better
that might be
than?
better. I would say that's probably giving you a guarantee or a closer to guarantee on this one. So are you swapping your action and adrenaline with 2 master plans?
Is that better? Do you think? Because at least then he's going to get plus 6.
plus 3's better than just doing a reroll.
Yeah. So I'll be giving you a potentially plus 6.
Plus 3.
Because I would have to roll it like 17 or higher to go higher than 3.
So so Dr. Dick keeps his second chance, and I'll swap my adrenaline and action for your 2 master plans. If you can do that, please.
GM is doing it currently at this minute in time.
There we go. Cool. I also rolled a 12 on my test, so does that? Do I count as what?
You count as one person. Theo counts as one person. Dr. Dick counts as one person. Ryoko, how are you assisting the attempt to break the crane?
Well, I can.
You have a very sharp katana made of space-age materials.
Yeah, perhaps I can hack away or something.
That's perfectly valid.
All right, so melee weapons
You can do
test
melee
then,
weapons,
or?
yeah.
We're so close.
It's a possible mishap, not a 1. Okay, you count as one person. So you're currently getting an assistance bonus of 3, Durak.
Okay.
You've got your adrenaline and your action, but again, you don't need to add those until after you've rolled the dice.
20.
So what's your strength plus 3 at the moment?
14. I was trying to work out. I'm trying to type it. It's 14. Okay. That didn't. Hey.
Ooh. So 16.
That is a 16. I'll have to use a card to make it go up.
But only 1 though, so that's enough.
Yep.
Yep, I will use the plus the adrenaline one because it's
mark the adrenaline off, so you get a 19. So with the dwarf in his strangely wrought magical armor, braces himself behind the crane base, and it will begin to put your strength to it. Ryoko at the front just sweeps her katana down and cuts through one corroded steel girder. The rest of you do what you can to help, and then with a creaking, tortured screaming of metal, the crane crashes down, and there's a sort of tinkling crashing sound on the other end of the crane as it breaks through into the tower. The first thing you notice after the sound stops is the sound of drumming down below has also stopped. You each look down and you can start to see a large swarm of the 100 or so Adinos beginning to head and are sort of clambering hand over hand up towards you. 2 or 3 of the Lacton screech and whirl in your direction, but you, each one after the other, just dart across the crane and into the building on the other side. Now, that was round 3. Now, the final step is to do what you can to prevent pursuit, because you can look out of the gap of the tower and you can see the lizard men swiftly clambering up to the same height of the construction opposite.
It doesn't have a D on it.
It does not have a D on it, but any roll of 1 to 4 is treated as a mishap this round, so be careful. You can still do a last-ditch effort. Last round, it's only one thing to do, so there's no additional penalties.
You wait till the next round.
You're attempting to knock the crane down, or doing something similar, to cut off pursuit. This would be a hard strength test to send the crane and any unfortunate Adinos that have already clambered up plummeting to the street far below.
What's hard? 14.
14.
Could I have used master plan to get that adrenaline back?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah.
Just in case we need it again. Oh, but then again, I can't swap it with Durak, can I? Because he hasn't.
Well, you could, because he's still got an action card.
Well, you might as well have that as the +3.
The one I've got gives me +3 to any test.
Yeah. So you might as well keep that one rather than getting
the master plan to get it back.
No, I will, because we'll keep it. Because he's got an action. He can't have 2 cards in his hand. He's only got 1, so he doesn't.
Yep. You wouldn't better get him one back.
I'll leave it. I'll keep him for something better.
Right.
So we might as well wait.
There's nothing we can do in this turn, so we might as well.
Do the last
Well, you might as well
ditch
make an effort.
But we can't because there's no D.
Yeah, 1 to 4, we do a disconnect. A mishap.
And I mean, you can do a last-ditch effort. You can always attempt the final one, which won't be any additional penalties. Or, as you say, you can hold it out. You can hold on.
It's a mishap on 1 to 4.
And
that's
hope for
our dice rolls. It's 100%.
Yeah. Can't
Can
be
I
worse.
force the card with the ideal? No.
Oh, you could pull the card out. It lets you change the card.
That's before there, wasn't it? I think that's gone.
It was. That's gone. Master plan.
You need to do that when you have the plan.
Okay, so round 5. By the way, if you fail after round 5, the Lacton riders will be within range and will start to attack.
It's all right. All in on this one now. Last ditch.
Yay, D.
All pack hunts best.
Mobs may not. Well, that's not us. That's them. They can't cooperate. So that's it. Bye, guys. We can though.
Mobs may not cooperate on test, but you aren't mobs.
Yeah, we're not mobs.
Oh, and there is a D, so we don't need to do a
So
last ditch.
who's got the highest anything? And we'll use that.
Is now, I suppose.
Anyone got?
You say it has to be a strength test to smash.
Well, the default would be strength, unless you can come up with something more appropriate.
Yeah. So if someone's got a mind of 12 or something.
Yeah. So what's with the climbing lizard people? What are they doing?
Climbing.
They're basically they were clambering up the lianas and vines that were festooning the building you came from. By this point, some of them have reached the top, and let's say there's about half a dozen of them are now beginning to bound across the gap which the crane is toward you.
Can I use the answered prayers to make us succeed?
You can try. What does it do? Play to Lanala, the spirit of living land respond in some way. Play to come yeah, you could use that if you want to.
What's it do?
Basically, you can pray to Lanala, the spirit of the living land, to respond in some way.
Well,
some way like.
Yeah. Is that going to be good or bad though?
Like
you offer a silent prayer to.
Like the foliage gives way and the crane crashes down because it doesn't have.
Perfectly happy if you want to spend that card.
Sure.
Okay, so Ryoko, you just I mean, she's probably like follower of Bushido or something like that, so there aren't any actual
Bushido, yeah.
gods within your particular ethos. But you offer a silent prayer up to the powers that be, and it is answered in a similar way to what you described. Literally in front of your eyes, starting from where you're stood within the tower, the metal of the crane begins to just disintegrate at an accelerated pace, as if it's like you're watching time-lapse rusting. I think that's a very good sound effect. Thank you, Badger. And as it goes about 6 feet out and there's no longer anything supporting it, it just falls down into the space as described, with all of the other Dinos that are on it underneath. You turn to the inside of the structure that you are in. Lines of crystal pulse slowly around you. The walls are literally made up of crystal, pulsing slowly between blue and red, tracing patterns almost like a circuit board. The pulses seem to be leading somewhere, travelling inward and downward. A voice emanates from the gem-encrusted walls, repeating the same message. Each of you hear it in your own native tongue. So Dwarven, Japanese, English, French. The message is as follows. We are lost, crushed by the savage world of Tak-Ta-Kur. Its warlord, Barak Kar, is a possibility raider, a dreadful High Lord who invades other realities. He sucks the possibility energy from his victims and their lands. We do not know what end these invasions serve. All we gleaned was a single word, Torg. This spire is the last remnant of Ukan, a world of great scientific advancement, reason, and peace. We were invaded by the living land. This outpost is where we made our last stand. We failed. We used what we learned of possibility energy to transmit our knowledge, our art, the very essence of our people away from the living land. So little was saved. Hopefully, someday, after the storm, explorers will hear this message and find our remains below. If a possibility raider hears these words, beware. All our power courses through our last guardian. While the storms still rage, it will destroy any intruder. If instead you battle against the High Lords, remember Ukan, for her daughters and sons can do so no longer. And that is constantly repeating all the time that you're in the tower.
I'll write it down on the tablet thing.
Okay. Short journey up the tower, because there's only about 5 or 6 floors up from where you are, provides you with the information you would need to plan your journey out of New York. You're just a few blocks east of the Holland Tunnel. But at that level, at the top, you can see no way to get out. So you have no choice but to follow the pulses downward through winding corridors that revolve around the outside of the tower. There are other doorways along the passages that you're following, but they are all overgrown and encrusted with jagged, translucent rock. And as you descend, you can feel a growing power below them. It taps into your very core. There is a strong source of possibility energy somewhere below you. Finally, you descend down into a large chamber, which must be at or below ground level. The passage opens into a gallery above the chamber with stairs on either side leading down to the ground below. The floor of this chamber is covered in rubble, some seemingly from the spire. Much of it is recognizable as from Manhattan ruins. There's like a broken mailbox and a street sign, a chunk of a car scattered across. Directly across from where you are, there is a similar platform, blocked off by a cracked mineral wall, on the other side of which you can see a Dinos hammering at the stone furiously, and cracks are growing wider by the moment. Behind the Dinos, on the floor below, behind the Dinos, the right bit, you can see a slightly taller Dinos warlord, not 4 meters tall, it's not Barak Kar, but there's a large one-eyed warrior bellowing out commands. He sees you, and his single yellow eye fixes on you with hatred, and at his command, the lizard men appear to redouble their effort. Down below, you can see around the edges of the floor below you, there are exits out into the tunnels beneath Manhattan, sewers, the subway, but each of these are currently covered with crystal. In the center at the bottom of the chamber, directly under the platform, is a huge humanoid made out of sharp, glowing crystal. It is nearly transparent, but it is lit from within by a heart that glows, pulsing blue and red. You can all feel the heart's power. That, especially for those of you that picked up the sheet music of the Marseillaise, that is an eternity shard. And as it is 25 past 10, with that, we'll leave it there.
Cool.
Excellent.
All right.
Session. I love the idea of the short, the last. Yeah. That's what's left of them. That's really cool. Tragic.
Let's just make sure Theo doesn't pull the heart out. The big giant robot.
As if I do anything stupid.
And then
You
roll
might have
away.
to, you don't know.
Roll a one again. Oh dear.
As
Oh
if I
no,
ever
I just
roll.
ruined the shard. Well, yeah, do we need that shard to keep us protected?
You might do. Eternity shards are useful, and as you stand there realizing, well, do you think if this thing's going to be able to stand up against the Dinos horde that's going to come into it? So it's up to you what you do. But we'll put that
Try. I'm not sure.
with a
how
map
to awaken it
for next
but-
week.
Yeah, we've got to be
But
careful that if we try to take it out, it doesn't attack us. But we could ask it. We need help. Will it offer its heart to us? I don't know.
Yeah, first we have to tell them it's good. We're good before, because
Next session, do we draw a new Cosm card or does it stay?
So Cosm cards and the like, they change act to act.
Act to
Okay?
act.
we're still in the same act, though, aren't
You
we?
are still in the same act.
What's this thing called, a scene for the?
You're in a scene at the moment, yes.
Yeah.
In fact, just to let you know, because I knew that people would need to get up to speed with the system again, this is actually one of the Delphi missions, which isn't actually related to the Godbox scenario you're doing, but I wanted to give you a slightly easier ease back in to the system.
Sounds like a mission we did before, ages ago.
And so this was easy, and we just made it hard by our rolls. Is that what you're trying to say?
Your rolls did make it significantly harder, yes, but you survived.
How many ones and twos can we roll?
All
But
right.
remember that possibilities are something you should spend, because, for example, now your possibilities would still refresh at the end of a scene, so they always refresh back up to your starting value. So if you have 3 possibilities, spend them, because at the end of the scene you're not going to get 6, you're going to still be at 3.
When's the end of a scene?
This scene will end when you exit the tower after dealing with the Guardian and the Dinos somehow.
Right.
When do we get XP?
End of an act.
Act, right. Okay.
So not yet.
Not
Is there a card that says make this an act right away? And you get more XP?
You could, in theory, call the martyr card that, because the martyr card, in the right situation, can, with the loss of a character's life, bring success.
Yeah, right. That's not happening.
Let's give that to Theo.
Night, guys.
Good night.
Thanks, Alexander.
See
Yeah.
you next week.
See you guys next week.
Yeah.
Why does my character on the thing have two? Oh, it's two.